As I mentioned, everything after the hash character is classified as a comment. Let's have a look at, there seems to be some error, too many blank lines, so let me correct those blank lines. Let's move this up a little bit and let's fix up everything after the hash is going to be a comment. So let's type in, this is how you can comment your code. And once that's done, that will be classified as a comment. Now there's another way you can actually do commenting as well. So let's do something like height equals 12. And if you need someone to read the code later on and define exactly what height actually is it meters, kilometers, is it centimeters, you can put a hash character here. And in this case, we'll call it meters. So hash meters, which will then indicate to someone reading the code that this is a comment and the value will be in meters. So that's how you do basic commenting. Now what we've done here is basically given height equals 12. That's an integer variable because we don't have any quotes or single quotes, double quotes, etc. When using Python, if we just define it as a number, Python treats it as an integer variable. If I was going to do a string variable, I could do it like this. So I go to the next line and let's type in something like username. Let's give a value to the variable username, and in this instance we use the double quotes. So simply type in username equals, and then within double quotes we give a value, for example test1. So open double quotes and close double quotes, and within those quotes we put in test1. This is now classified as a string variable. If I wanted to define a path for a specific file name, I could also use quotes, but in that instance I use single quotes. To do that, I simply type in file name equals, and I will use single quotes this time. So file name equals single quotes, and within those single quotes I type in, for example, abc slash abc.txt, which is a reference to a file within a directory called abc. So this is how we use integer variables, string variables, and path name variables. Just remember, path names will be in single quotes. In Python, it is also very easy for you to define floating point numbers. You simply need to give or choose a variable, use the equals to sign, and simply type in the floating point number. So I can do b equals, and in this case I will put 1.2, which is now a floating point number. We can also use Boolean expressions. So for a Boolean, I can do c equals true, and that's a Boolean expression. I can also do d equals false, and that's another Boolean expression. We can also do mathematical calculations in Python, and to do that we can simply type in, for example, two values or two variables, y and z. Let's look at y equals, and let's look at 2 multiplied by 2, and let's also look at z as another variable, and let's put z equals 2 plus 2. Just put some spaces here. Now to print this out, I can print, and let's put in y, and let's also print z. And once we do that, we can actually run this program in our Kali Linux environment. Save this file, and let's print this again, and let's have a look. And you notice here at the bottom it shows 4 and 4, which is 2 times 2 and 2 plus 2. So let's look at what else we can do in Python. Now let's look at whether we can add two variables together. So let's look at how we do that. So we can type in here, let's print the value of x plus y. And let's run this and see how that appears. If I print this, it should get, oh, it's giving us 5. I know the error. I've used x. X is from further up, which was a value of 1. So I need to change this. It's z plus y. Now, if we run this again, we should get the value of 8. Let's go back to the Linux environment and let's run the program again. And now we should see the value appear as 8. There we go. We see 4, 4, and 8 as the sum of y and z. So this is how we use the mathematical functions in Python. As you can see, if we change any of the mathematical operators from the multiplication and plus to subtraction and division, when we print the y and z, that will be reported with the correct answer. So the other benefit of Python is that it is extremely lightweight. It works under the Linux environment, works under Windows, works on Mac, even works on Android. So Python is actually becoming a very popular tool for hacking professionals and hackers because it works on multiple environments. The other beauty of Python is that you don't need complex strings and variable definitions. As you noticed in this particular program, we very simply were able to give numerical values, string values, part name values simply by using double quotes and quotes, or not having quotes at all, just having a number. We've been able to use Boolean expressions very easily. What's also really handy is that Python allows you to use simple indentation rules to make the code work extremely well. So given all these benefits and ease of writing the code where you don't have to worry about all the fancy definitions like defining a variable, defining strings, defining integers, we are now able to create very simple programs. That's why Python is an extremely useful tool for hackers to create simple applications like exploitation tools, network scanning tools, keyloggers, all these other different variations, because they also have so many programs already available that are completely free for a user to start creating their own custom Python program. So given that it works on Mac and works on Android and works on Linux as well as PCs, you can see how dangerous it can be in the wrong hands. There's some simple code would allow a user to install this on any particular machine of their choice, get complete access to a victim's computer, and then be able to take advantage of that machine, whether it be a keylogger, a virus, or a Trojan. Python is also being used by many of the large corporations because of the ease of use and because of all the custom programs already available for free that can be simply modified for each person's personal use. As I mentioned earlier, given that Python has such a wide collection of programs already available for free, it is being used by hackers for tools like network analysis, network scanning, Wi-Fi scanning, debugging purposes, even things like encrypting and decrypting. We're also using it for malware analysis and forensic analysis. There's many uses for Python because of the wide range of platforms it can be used for, like Linux, Android, Mac, and even PC. Now, before I finish this video, I want to show you a couple additional commands, and the one that we want to look at is the length command. So to do that, we have the PyCharm open, and if you do get a chance to purchase the paid version of PyCharm, it is highly recommended. Free version is great, but the paid version does have some additional features and benefits. Let's look at how we can grab the actual length of the username. To do that, we can simply type in len username, and at the beginning of this statement, I'm going to put in print to print the length of that username, which should give us a value of 5. Well, let's go back into Kali Linux and run the program to show the value of 5. Run the program, and as we'll see, it's thrown an error, and the reason is print is in capitals here. I need to correct that by using lowercase p. Now let's run that again, and as we can see, the value returned is 5. There are other additional commands that we can use with these string variables, and one of them that I'm going to do now is print, and we're going to do some functions on the actual username. So to do that, I type in print, and let's type in username, and this time I'm going to put a full stop next to username, and as you can see here, it has a number of options that we can perform tasks on that particular username. For example, I'll use capitalize here, and let's see if it does return the value as capitals. So when I run this program, it hasn't, and I know what it is. I fixed it now, and the reason is it's because I used the wrong command. This should be called upper. So instead of capitalize, I use upper, and that takes the test1 username and puts it all in capitals. So all the letters become capitals, the number stays exactly the same. Now we can do some additional things like if username, and if you notice here, there's a count, there's is digit, is lower, is space, is title, is upper. There's many things that we can do to test that particular username. So let's use is digit to see whether we can find if the username returns a value of true or false given the nature of the username. So let's type in username dot is digit, and in this situation I'm going to change the username just to have a value of 1, just to prove that it is true when I run this program. So let's go in and run this program, and then I'll show you where it's a false condition. Here the result is true. Now let me change the value of this to test1 again, and in this instance when I run the program, it should show the value of false. As we can see, the value is now false because it has letters in the actual username. So with this, we can actually see that there are a number of options that are available in Python, and lots of options to test and play around with different calculations, different mathematical operations, and extremely easy to use. And that is why it is a very popular tool amongst hackers. This PyCharm application makes it very easy for you to see how the code looks and gives you all the different color options to make it a very easy way for anyone to start coding in Python.